Will, so nice to have you.
Yes.
So you are with the Black Chamber of Commerce, and you're here today talking with us about government contracting. And man, do I have a lot of questions for you.
Awesome. Thank you guys for having me.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for being here. So tell us about this upcoming workshop. I think it's in April. How do we do business with the California government?
Absolutely. Our April 13th workshop is going to be conducted at Highlands Charter School in Sacramento. Is actually the third in a series of 4 small business and micro business development workshops that we're doing in partnership with the Department of General Services, a state of California agency.
So at this workshop, what are some of the things that a small business owner could look forward to accomplishing?
One, we really use the workshop as an awareness program or an awareness forum for small businesses. We've got about 4.1 million small businesses within the state of California. About a third of them, more than 1 million, are minority-owned or women-owned businesses, but many of them have no idea of all the opportunities that are available through contracts with the state of California and the over 300 plus agencies or departments that exist within the state. Places like Department of Motor Vehicles, Department of Transportation, Department of Corrections, almost any product or service you can think of in the normal business world. Those things are purchased oftentimes by agencies within the state.
Yeah, so I have done a little bit of digging into, maybe contracting some of my small business work with the government. And what I have found is it is like a puzzle. There's like 4 different websites. There's all these registrations to do, certifications. And I'll be honest with you, got lost really fast. And not that I'm a quitter, but I feel like I needed some guidance. So would this workshop be for somebody who needs that type of guidance, who needs to figure out necessarily the puzzle, to get these bids going?
This workshop is designed exactly for people that are trying to figure out those puzzle pieces. And you said it very well. It's sort of an acronym city when we're dealing with public agencies, whether it's the state or the federal government. And this process starts with registering the small business on the Department of General Services website.
SAM.gov, is that the one?
No, it is actually dgs.ca.gov. So DGS has its own website. As you indicated, once you're in that portal, you can register your business there. They will ask some specific questions on the type of work that the business does. And then that's going to take you to another portal called Cal E-Procure. And that's where all the projects and the bids are. So our website is designed to, one, not just give people a web link and say good luck as you've experienced, but to take time and break it down into small increments so that these people that do this as a normal everyday function of their world can actually find out what the opportunities are without having a PhD, if you will, in website search.
Man, yes, that is so needed. Oh, my goodness. I'm interested to hear, I heard a little bit of something called the emergency registry. Can you tell us about that?
The emergency registry is actually a additional portal and a way to earn money if you're a small business. When we had our workshop just recently, a couple of weeks ago at Highlands, it was right after the big rock or boulder fell on Highway 50. But that's an example of an emergency project. So at both the state and federal level, there are companies, depending on the type of work you do, that you can get registered to be a certified business with the state. With that registration comes the opportunity to register for the emergency contact registry. So, for example, when the boulder fell, a larger construction company, I think Granite Construction in this case, was called to drill through the boulder, remove the boulder. But all those things that we're seeing on the news each morning, that the highway's closed. So the detour signs come from small businesses that do signage for a living. The firefighters, the construction workers, the people working to remove the boulder all night, overnight, they don't take breaks to go to lunch, for example. Someone has to cater food and bring it to them.
Right.
So almost all the things that you're seeing on there, the public, sort of like you talk about the puzzle pieces, don't really recognize what they're seeing. So a big part of our workshop, as we teach soldiers in the Army, is teaching them what to see. That when you see that emergency or that disaster, whether it's a fire, whether it's a flood, see business opportunities within those disasters if you have that kind of company, even if it's a tow truck company.
I got that creative mind, so I definitely would be interested in figuring that out too. Seeing the business opportunities. I think many business owners, small business owners, are good at that. So good for you for highlighting how we can contract with the government and do all of that. So, with this type of an emergency registration and this type of work, would you have to be on call for 24 hours a day or working with the government at all? Is that something that a small business owner would need?
It's a great way for a small business owner to build a resume. As you and Justin have your own businesses, you guys know that oftentimes it's difficult for the entrepreneur, the startup company, to get that first contract because no one's seen your work before. So the ER list and those early morning, late night calls are definitely a resume builder. And while the guidance doesn't say 24/7, it absolutely says, please don't sign up for this if you're not willing to be called late at night or early in the morning.
Got it.
Disasters don't happen on a schedule.
Got it.
No,
yeah.
they don't.
That makes sense.
So I'm Justin Duncan here with Liberty Santiago, and you're listening to the Small Business Voice on Power Talk 1360 KFIV. We are here with Will McClure of the Black Chamber of Commerce, who is educating us on contracting work through the government programs that exist. He can be reached at calbcc.org. And I'm sure you have a phone number on there, but we have your cell phone. I don't think you want your cell phone over the air, do you?
No, we actually have a local number that I'll pull for you so that we're not giving you the wrong.
Yeah, we can put it on our show, or we can put it on the website and all that too, so no worries. Hey, real quick, I want to thank you for your service. I know you 20-year veteran of the Army, correct? That
is correct. I was in the Army for about 22 years.
22 years, yeah. So, number one, thank you for your service.
You're welcome.
And then you just transitioned. You started working for...
I retired from the Army. I'm going to age myself a little bit. Way back in 2002. And certainly at that time, I was about 40, so too young to do nothing. And that got me into the realm of doing civil rights work as a professional. So I started doing fair housing investigations, actually, at Housing and Urban Development in San Francisco. And then I transitioned to USDOT, or the Federal Highway Administration, in 2009, responsible for both the small business program, a workforce development program, and a science, technology, engineering, math program for high school and middle school students.
All right. I want to thank Wolf McClure again. He is with the Black Chamber of Commerce, and he is educating us on contracting work through the government. And he can be reached 916-467-8878 or at calbcc.org. Connect with us on the web, smallbusinessvoicemedia.com and libertybrand.biz. Send us a message on our Facebook page and click the like button on Small Business Voice Media and tell us what you would like Liberty and I to discuss on a future show. So, Will, I don't know if you know this, but Liberty is a notary. And I would like to know how Liberty can get involved helping out the state of California with notary services.
Absolutely. That's good. So that's sort of an easy one.
All right. I'm promoting you, Liberty.
Thank you. That's what's up.
As we said in the last segment, step one would be go to the Department of General Services website. You could get registered there. There's 5 sort of steps that any company would go through to get registration. That company is going to get a registration number back almost immediately when you push enter, because it's a self-certification process. After that, I shared with Liberty some of the North American industry classification systems, and specifically the one that pertains to a notary. So you can go to the NICS website to determine what classification system codes fit your business, so that you got that ready at hand when you start the registration process with DGS. So a notary and any other company can enter into 6 different work classification codes into the system. From there, you complete the certification, and now you're eligible to bid on state projects through the Department of General Services and the 300 plus state agencies. Liberty, a quick way to find work that may suit what your company does is just to go to Cal eProcure's website, and in the search box, type in notary. Every project that requires a notary will come up on that register. And there are typically about 300, 400, 500 projects in there each week. I think there were about 562 when we ran the projects last week.
So, Liberty, there's plenty of work for you. And remember, I get 10%.
Now, the other part of this is the state has a 25% small business goal. So some of these contracts actually incentivize the use of small businesses by the prime contractors. So you may find contracts with that 25% goal embedded in them.
Right.
And you will find some also with the 5% disadvantaged veteran enterprise goal built in for firms that are registered as owned by disabled veterans.
Yeah, so that's all so much great information. I have been doing some research myself, and what I have found is, trying to find out what certification is the best, because I could classify as women-owned small business, and, that is one way I want to go. But, if come to find out that these bids have more project money allocated for a small business certification, then that's the way I would want to go. Am I kind of on the right track here?
You're absolutely on the right track. You sound like my boss, Jay King, when you ask me that. Jay's like, well, Will, why would I want to sign up as a small business versus a veteran business? But your example is the perfect one. That let's say we're registered as a small business. Yeah, we're going to hunt for contracts that have the small business preference. But if your partner is a veteran, I'm not allowed to get 10% like Justin does. If you're a veteran-owned small business, then, yeah, you kind of get the opportunity to play in a couple of fields. You could search for some that have the 25% small business preference, and there are going to be some that have a 5% veterans preference. And you just, as you say, sort of pick the one that's most attractive to what your company does, sort of where it's located, and essentially when the project is as well.
Exactly. And then now we can dip into the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Because I know I could sit here and tell you what I kind of translated, but it's best to hear it from you, because this is your wheelhouse, man.
I've got some professional definitions, as you will. So I love you saying that. When we're talking, the state has Proposition 209 in place. So when we're talking about California dollars, they're not measured by your race, your gender, your ethnicity. They're not allowed to in California. So on the federal side of the ledger, they target minority-owned, women-owned businesses. When we're saying the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program, or the DBE program, it's really a program that's intended to level the playing field. As we worked at FHWA, my former employer, we give the state DOT Caltrans about $5.5–6 billion a year, and then we do stewardship and oversight of those dollars. But that program is designed to address discrimination from the past and current discrimination. So out of that $6 billion, there are mathematical studies conducted that reflect that were it not for past and present discrimination, about 22% of the business in this state would go to minority-owned, women-owned businesses. That's sort of based on your population within the state and your population within that small business universe. So the projects that Caltrans awards have that 22% small business or disadvantaged business goal built in. The prime contractor that wants to win that award has to bring minority-owned, women-owned businesses to the party with them to prevail.
Good. I love it. That's fantastic. This is something I'm super excited and passionate to get your answer about is grants. When there is a will, there is a way, there is a door, there's some opportunity.
No pun intended, by the way.
No pun intended.
Yeah, no pun intended with there was a will. Thank you, Will. So, I've always dreamed about finding a grant so that it could help stimulate my business, my client's business. Is there such a thing as a government grant that could help us boost our business?
There absolutely is. So I don't want to speak in too many acronyms, but let's start on the state side like we did with the small business program.
Okay.
Today is a great day to ask this question because there's a fund called the California Dream Fund that's administered by the Governor's Office of Small Business Advocate here in the state of California. So through a new grant that only opened like a week or so ago, an entrepreneur or a small business that's already operating as a small business can go to a set of predetermined training classes and get up to $10,000 to help you fund your business, buy equipment, hire staff. In addition to that, there are small business development centers that are funded by the state of California that can assist you for free with business development, things like making sure you have the right business structure and the legal documents that you need to support those things. They can help you write business plans. The state also has a training class called I'm Certified Now What? So that after you get the certification, you're not sort of in a Joe's versus pros scenario, that you actually have a better idea of how the bidding, estimating process works, who the points of contact in the jigsaw puzzle are. And then on the federal side, congressionally, there's a requirement that all federal grants are entered into a system called grants.gov. I'm happy to no longer be one of the civil rights managers that are required to put your documents in grants.gov before the start of the federal fiscal year.
It sounds like it would be very intense work to enter all those grants because I've done some poking around myself, of course, and there's a lot. There's a lot there. How about actually qualifying for those and landing those? How do you stand out to get a grant like that?
I think you said it best, that if we can help people just figure out sort of the jigsaw puzzle that gets them into the portal, that's a big part of the challenge. One, knowing that the funding is available, that we're right here in California, but far too few people have heard of the California Dream Act. Once we can get them in, like the daily newspaper, the grants are drafted to be at, say, 7th grade or high school reading level, so you don't have to be a paid professional to understand what's going on.
You're speaking my language now.
I love it. I love it.
But I think the big opportunity that many small businesses and even entrepreneurs miss is take advantage of the free technical assistance. The magic elixir of our small business workshop is we're not just going to pull something off the shelf or death by PowerPoint the people. Our workshop, it's free. It lasts from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., but we are there typically hours after explaining to small businesses, answering questions, and then we follow that up with a one-on-one appointment where we can have a more thorough discussion on how we can help you do what you do. And then we refer them to Small Business Development Center and those resources that can help them along the way.
I love that so much.
Yeah. Hey, Will, I just want to thank you for coming on today. And we actually have more questions, but we're out of time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So again, thank you for coming on today.
You guys are welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Yeah, that's Will McClure with the California Black Chamber of Commerce, who is educating us on contracting work through the government programs that exist. And he can be reached at 916-467-8878 or at calbcc.org. Connect with us on the web, smallbusinessvoicemedia.com and libertybrand.biz. And I want to thank Will McClure for coming on our show today. He is with the California Black Chamber of Commerce based in Sacramento, and he is a fountain of information. Liberty, I think this is an interview that you really enjoyed too, isn't it?
Yeah. When I first started my business, my aunt told me, she goes, you know what, you got to get into government contracting. And I'm like, okay, I don't even know what you mean. She's like, just hear me out. And so, she turned me on to a couple of websites. And, I had just started my business, so I thought, I didn't even think creatively enough to try to get any government jobs for my particular business. But what I did do is I did lots of research about getting my partner, Alex, his welding business, his fabrication business, agriculture business, see how he could get in with the government. And what I found is I was overwhelmed really quickly with lots of information, lots of acronyms I didn't understand, multiple different websites. I mean, this thing is a puzzle. I'm talking like you could probably spend 20 hours a week trying to figure this out. And I'm going over here like there's got to be a better way. There has to be somebody somewhere that knows what they're doing and that they could guide me. So 2 years later, here is Will.
Yeah. He's like the Rock in the Jungle Cruise. He's here to guide you through the mazes.
He is full of personality too. So I would absolutely love working with him. And my takeaway from what he said is I'm going to go to that workshop. I'm going to, make sure that I have a conversation with him, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get the small business voice, some media contracts with the government, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get some government contracts for notary and perhaps even personal development for their workers. I mean, there's no end to what goodness we could bring, our state of California.
Absolutely. So if you want to check that out, Small Business Development Workshop, you can RSVP at www.calbcc.org or call the phone number 916-467-8878.